If you're anything like me, you've probably, at some point in your League of Legends career, sat in a never-ending loading screen and wondered, has this exact game ever been played before? Have these exact 5 champions ever faced those exact 5 champions? Well, today I did the math so you don't have to, and the answer, perhaps surprisingly, is almost certainly not. There are currently 149 champions in League of Legends as of patch 10.14. A standard draft pick game consists of 10 different champions facing each other in 2 teams of 5. We can calculate the number of possible teams by this formula on screen now. And assuming that no champions are banned, there are 571,880,029 ways to build a team of 5 champions from the 149 available. Since in draft pick, a champion cannot be picked by both teams, there are now 481,008,528 ways to create the enemy team from the remaining 144 champions. Any of these teams could face any of the others, so we multiply these numbers together to give us a total of 275 quadrillion possible games. So, for a simple answer to the question, the chances of any one of these 275 quadrillion possible games ever having been played before is basically zero. If all of humanity stopped what we were doing to play League of Legends games for the rest of our existence, we could run about 780 million games simultaneously. Assuming that most of these would end pretty quickly, we can estimate 3 games an hour on average, so we can get through about 56 billion games a day. It would take us 13,500 years to play out every possible game, and that's assuming that no one ever eats, sleeps, or shits again, and Riot never releases a new champion. Pretty good way to run out the clock, in my opinion. While everything up to this point has been factually true, and maybe a bit misleading, yes, there are 275 quadrillion possible games, but the overwhelming majority of these will consist of completely unviable, ridiculous team comps that no one in their right mind would ever play. We can obtain a more reasonable estimate for the number of more or less viable games by restricting each laner to the pool of champions assigned to their lane by Riot. This gives us 41 top lane picks, 39 in jungle, 44 in mid, 19 ADCs, and 29 supports. And of course there are some champions like Akali that are available in 2 roles. Once we remove these duplicates, and I had to use personal judgment for some of these, so don't at me, we're left with champion pools of 35 picks for top lane, 34 junglers, 36 mid laners, 18 ADCs, and 26 supports, which gives us 20,049,120 possible meta adhering comps for the first team. And since this is draft pick, the same champions can't be picked twice, we get 16,689,750 possible enemy teams. Like before, we multiply these numbers together to find that even staying strictly within the confines of the meta, we still get a total of 334 trillion possible games. It's hard to find exact numbers for how many League games have ever been played, but I did find this article from 2012 stating that the 1 billion mark had just been surpassed. Now, given that barely anyone played back in beta, I'm going to assume that most of these games happened in the course of about a year before the article. The player base is about 5 times as large now as it was back then, so maybe 5 billion games per year would be a reasonable estimate of what's going on at the moment. It's been 8 years since that was written, so I'm going to guess that somewhere in the region of 40 billion games of League of Legends have ever been played. Taking our smaller estimate of 334 trillion meta games, we can estimate that about 1 in 10,000 of all the possible games have ever been played out. So basically, every time you load into a League game, you can be pretty damn confident that it's both the first and the last time that history will ever see that exact game. Maybe that's why this game manages to stay so fresh after all these years. Why, despite every fuck up the Riot's had, the game keeps growing and growing. Or maybe I'm just a nerd who cares too much about big numbers. If you made it to the end of this video, you're probably as much of a nerd as I am, and in that case you should definitely follow my Twitch stream on the screen now, and link in the description. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, and if you think I did any of my maths wrong, leave a comment and I'll explain to you why I'm right and you're wrong. Peace out.